Documents have been released that show the Catholic Church tried to arrange memorandums of understanding with the New South Wales police force that would have allowed the Church to withhold evidence of child sexual abuse from criminal investigations. But before you get on your high horse, remember, it's God's job to judge them. But let's judge them now. You were bad people, and I hope you go to that hell that you invented. And before that, prison. Because according to the Greens MP David Shoebridge, who discovered the documents, the Church wanted to effectively give the accused priest a veto power about whether or not to provide crucial information to the police, which means an accused priest could have decided whether or not incriminating evidence was given to the people who were trying to investigate him.
Do you think we should give the knife to the police?
No.
All right.
Now, these two documents were drafted in 2003, one by the Church and one by police, but both were unsigned. Despite that, the Catholic Church says they operated like it was a done deal.
We had a line of communications with the police and all indications were that the MOU was approved.
But the Child Protection Squad disagrees, saying the draft unsigned MOU has not been approved by the New South Wales Police Service. The Catholic Church confusing the understanding part of a memorandum of understanding with, we have an understanding, right? We're cool. You don't need to actually sign the stuff. You get it. Or maybe they just convinced themselves that the signature existed despite never seeing it personally. Either way, Jazz Twemlow wants to have a word with them.
I'm here at the church. Because the church is the gateway to heaven, a lot of people are willing to turn a blind eye to all the horrible things God's employees are doing. Unfortunately, there is no heaven, so this news story is essentially about letting people who've taken advantage of the most vulnerable members of society manipulate the law just because they happen to work in an old building in costume. Of course, people are welcome to believe whatever they like, but just be aware that clinging to a best-selling novel from 2,000 years ago has nothing to do with the legal process, which means the church and the police need to be brought up to speed on how their relationship should function in 2013, an era where the church doesn't get to dominate the secular authorities while they peddle harm like some sort of spiritual asbestos company like they did hundreds of years ago. Your Eminence, may I ask you a question, only if it pleases you, of course?
You may speak, my son.
Well, I just wanted to ask you about all those crimes you've committed. There's a lot of them.
Let me check. God says no.
Of course. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Now, of course, religion traditionally has had some say in the legal system. It did come up with the first 10 laws. The problem is, since then, we've come up with all the other laws, and God hasn't told the church any different. In fact, rumour is they haven't heard from him since science. So perhaps it's time we legally brought the church into the 21st century. So where were you last night?
God says I don't need to tell you.
I say that you do.
We have a memorandum of understanding.
Which we didn't sign. And we have laws now, and DNA profiling, and that memorandum is effectively a confession that you've done something you don't want to tell the police.
Oh!
You should be in prison.
Oh!
Thanks, Jazz.